It's not all about the dinner, guys. Yep, I said it. When you're coming over to a party or a gathering, a lot of people are looking for some appetizers, and everyone loves a well put out charcuterie board. That's right, guys. We're going to take a look at the ins and outs, what you do's and don'ts. So head on over to kcknh.com, find me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Charcuterie comes from France, 15th century, folks. It's a little aged, but that's okay because it follows into the principles of preservation. When there was no refrigeration, charcuterie was the process of smoking, salting, using vinegar, and preserving through the dry age process. We're talking sausage-like shapes as well as a variety of pâtés and terrines were available. Nothing got wasted, guys. And the thing about charcuterie, it's not the same as a cheese board, and a cheese board is not the same as charcuterie. Charcuterie is meat focused, while the cheese board, well, it's cheese focused. And one of the things about charcuterie board is it does not have these items, breakfast foods, confections, candy. It's nothing more than a board, a platter, a tray, or a dish. We want to focus on what a true charcuterie is and the variety that goes into it. But you got to put it on something. So we're going to talk about the tools. The tools are very important, and it's certainly something that really makes the dinner table look beautiful. So you're not using your standard kitchen cutting boards, guys. You're using display boards. You can use a combination. There's wood, you can use marble, you can use granite. I even have a piece here that's from recycled Formica above. But I have these beautiful small boards with a whole bunch of knives to go with it. And this allows me the ability to work with so many different items. For example, if I wanted to take advantage of small bites or amuse-bouche, these Asian spoons actually are perfect for 1, maybe 2 bites. And you can get those pretty cheap. You can get sets of knives for your table. And if you're like me, you love repurposed items. We actually had a beautiful find of marble and granite, and we get to use these for different types of setups, which is great. If you can take advantage of that, it's great, guys, and it's usually cost effective. And they come with these little wooden nubbies, so you get these little tables. It's adorable. And of course, you can also use small cake stands. You can also use those for your breads. And it's always good to have a variety of small dishes because we've got a whole variety of sauces, marinated items. And as you can see here, we've also got different sized toothpicks which come in handy. You don't always want to have just loose items. It's great to have small bites already composed. So this certainly gives you flexibility and the availability of items to choose from for your charcuterie setup. Now let's take a look at the approach. How many types of items are we looking for? So you want to average 3 to 5 types depending upon the size of the board and the number of the people you're serving. We're talking the meats, the cheese, the accoutrements, and the foundations. In the charcuterie itself, how much are we going to include? Well, if it's an appetizer, 2 to 3 ounces. If it's the meal, 4 to 6 ounces. And we definitely want to see some variety. And this is a board that I had prepped ahead. It was for a special project for a couple of years ago, but I love being able to showcase this because you get to do so much creativity in this, guys. And quite honestly, it's very rewarding. So one of the things I love to do is a garlic toast or a crostini type base. And I want to keep that separate from everything. I do not want that going mushy, so I always keep that separate. And on the main board, I've got a couple of paper doilies here. It's just to help serve the purpose of protecting the board, and we can put a crap ton of food on there. Now, for some accoutrements, we are working with a couple of spreadables. Access is very important if you don't want people making a huge mess. So we're going to take a look at the items that go into bowls. So I have a homemade boursin on the lower right, and I have a tuna spread on the upper left. Easy to access when you keep them on the sides. other accoutrements, I've got some homemade marinade artichokes. I have some pesto mozzarella balls. Again, because they're fluid based, we want to keep them as easy access. So we're going to put those predominantly on the sides, not in the middle. So we'll put those on the sides as well. And it just makes for less impact on the tablecloth, if you know what I mean. My poor husband learned the hard way one time. That's okay. So I have some homemade marinated mushrooms and I have some sun-dried tomatoes here. Very easy to pick these up when they are easily accessible. So we've got everything set up here for accoutrements for easy access. Now, more fluid-based, I don't mind putting in the middle, but we want to keep them in bowls, and that's to be able to self-contain things. We're going to work all around these bowls, and this is where we're going to plug and play. We'll plug in the foods and play with the next ingredient. So, we have soft, hard, and funky. So, when we're talking about cheese, you want to have an offering of 3 to 5, depending upon the size, of course, and the number of people you're feeding. We'll keep those on the side. You can use a toothpick to grab these if you wanted, or if someone has some small tongs. But this serves the great purpose of perfect bite size, get them out of the way so the next person can get some food. And they are varying in texture. So I have a spreadable cheese, I've got a soft cheese, and I am going to have a separate board that will have a wedge of cheese. Variety is key, guys. You don't have to do 3. If you wanted to just do 2 offerings, you certainly can. It'll give you some more versatility to allow more items on the board. But because this is just my husband and I purposely didn't want to cook all day on the day of a holiday. And that brings the next item here in such a perfect way. I also like to make little finger sandwiches. This is always going to be ingredients from the board or a couple extra add-ons. I've got these great little mini sandwiches with the tuna spread that I made, some vegetables, a little bit of olive on the top, a little fresh pickled cucumber. They're perfect if you're just looking for small bites that you can easily grab and run. And place these easily on the sides, and of course for the decorative purpose you can put a couple in the middle if you wanted. They're pretty self-contained on their own. You don't have to worry about them touching other things because it's all common ingredients. Now, I do like the ability to add some fresh vegetables, but I also like roasted vegetables. With a simple olive oil, salt, pepper, and garlic, we've got some gorgeous zucchini and summer squash. They pair very well with the cheeses and the olives, and that's really the function here. What kind of balancing act are we going to do with flavors? We actually kept this quite simple, despite the fact the board is wicked huge. I realize that. That you're probably looking at this and saying, are you freaking crazy? Yeah, I am crazy, but I'm looking for a whole bunch of different items to have fun with. So I'm going to put these vegetables away from everything else that could potentially get soaked. So as you can see, it's not touching those little sandwiches. Now we're going to move on to the showcase, the variety of meats. Now I actually did some grilling for some of these items. So we already grilled the vegetables there. I also took some beautiful steaks and I hit up the Italian deli area. Was able to get some beautiful sliced prosciutto. And all I did was when I brought it home, I cut the slices in half, rolled them up because I want bite size. Plus, prosciutto can get a little challenging to eat sometimes, so by keeping it smaller, it's easier to grab and chew. And of course, you can do some designing if you want with some of the Italian cold cuts. I just took it upon myself to quarter up some salami. I've got here kind of like a herringbone, I guess you could call it. Not really sure, but there's a lot of it because we like it. Pairs with the picklings, it pairs with the spreads, the cheeses. We even took some time to make some wrapped cones with them just for the effect of highlighting that area for meats. And it's perfect for anyone that just wants something wicked fast and they can run. So you can certainly have a lot of fun with creativity, and you want to keep these meats pretty much in the same area if you can. I'm not worried about them touching the bread of those sandwiches because they intermingle quite well. So we're going to put all of the prepped items here. And ultimately, this is the setup we're going to show you on what it looks like with it being completed. I have to tell you guys, the variety here is so important. You're never going to be bored if you've got a variety. Look at the rest of the meats that got put there. Seafood always gets set up separately and away from everything. We've got some sauces available. We've got crackers and cheese available with some grapes. Grapes are a great palate cleanser to have, so it's always good to have those nearby. And I've got some shrimp set up with cocktail sauce, spinach pinwheels here with puff pastry. Just having that variety, you are going to make so many people wicked happy. And it's great because you're not going to have to do anything for the next couple days. Perfect for snacking, but it really does become a great meal. And these spreadables are actually separate recipes available on my website. I do have my boursin and the marinade for the mushrooms available for you. And as always, if you're looking for some ideas, reach out to me. Have yourself a great time this holiday season, and I look forward to serving you again.